Welcome to another live patching session. You just heard the end of this video where I'll hopefully come up with something interesting out of 3 techniques that I just picked at random from our techniques page on our website. If you want to do the same, this is always a nice tool to foster our creativity. So today's random picks are the FUMANA feedback number 3, the synth voice, and the source and wave folder. So we have one technique focused on FUMANA, one that uses file history as a standalone synth voice, and another on the BRENSO. Now, right off the bat, I can see that I have a major issue because for FUMANA feedback number 3, I used the Sapel's pink noise as a carrier sound that I patched into FUMANA, which I then modulated with an oscillator coming out of file history, and then I created a feedback loop. But I don't have a Sapel in the system here, so I think I'm gonna take advantage of the source and wave folder technique, and I'm gonna use the final output instead. So let's see what we can come up with. First of all, I need to set file history's green generator to loop and its time scale to short so that I can use it as an oscillator. And if I patch it to my CGM, I can clearly hear a tone. So the synth voice used this output here and this yellow generator set to hold and with long time scale. So if I patch the 4-quadrant multiplier output to my CGM, I can control its amplitude through the yellow generator. Now, if I patch a volt per octave signal here and a gate signal here, I could use this as a voltage-controlled oscillator with a voltage-controlled amplifier, which is half of my 4-quadrant multiplier. So I think that I can start by patching my final output instead of Sapel's pink noise to FUMANA's main input and proceed to the FUMANA feedback number 3 technique. So instead of patching my oscillator here, my sound source here, and then the all output to the CGM so that I can shape my sound through the faders, I need to create a feedback loop. So I patched the final output to my 3-to-1, make sure to remove any DC offset and to set everything with the straight phase, so make sure that these switches are all the way to the left. Then I patch this output here, which can be I can use the unpatched output and remove any unwanted attenuation, patch it back into FUMANA, and then I can hear my sound again, with the only difference that I can control its amplitude externally. And then I pick the direct output of my stereo channel, which by default is the mono sum of everything that I patch here, let it be in stereo or in dual mono, as soon as I don't break the semi-normalization by patching another cable. Patch it here, and then bring it in. And you can clearly hear now that my FUMANA is beginning to resonate. Okay. And I can even play with the phase inversion to change the timbre of my feedback loop. And then in the original technique, I used the green generator, which I promoted to oscillator, to modulate and to perform some spectral transfer over here. It has a lot of energy, so I must carefully set its pitch, but you can clearly hear the difference with feedback and no feedback. Now I must carefully choose the frequency and the level here on the 321 to avoid any unwanted extra distortion. I can even add some reverb and make everything more fascinating. Now, instead of using Sapel, I think I'm gonna use the Usta sequencer. So I'm gonna set up a sequence and then move on to blending the synth voice technique with the source and wave folder and the FUMANA feedback. So I may speed up the video while I compose a track from scratch. Okay, so I have two tracks that play the same melody so that I could get in tune my BRENSO and my green oscillator. So this is what BRENSO sounds like. It is an odd time sequence because it is 14 time units. So I can split it to 7 plus 7 if I want to animate, which is something that I plan to do. So basically now I have just the CVA of track 1 controlling BRENSO, CVA of track 2 controlling Falistri. Here we have Falistri, and here we have the BRENSO. Now, if I take back my Falistri and patch it to FUMANA's modulation input, I will transfer its harmonic content to the BRENSO. And then I can transpose it up one, two, or 3 octaves, and then take advantage of the feedback. But now they are moving in unison, so I think that it can be interesting to make them play two different melodies, like this one. For example, I can set my track to 14 time units so that it will match the duration, my pattern to 14 time units so that it will match the duration of pattern 1 of track 1, and then give it different notes, for instance. Let me see. Since I am playing in a Dorian mode, I can set all my stages to, I don't know, perhaps C2 or C3, and then play with every stage. I can play with their variation index and range. For example, I can set these two. I can try to give the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the 7th stage a different variation index and range. I'm not sure what's gonna sound like. Let's see. It's not that noticeable. I can try to transpose it up. And perhaps use the same trick to add different accents. For example, I can split it into and then this. And then I can add some bands. And since in the source technique I played with this parameter here on the BRENSO, which defines the signal to be routed into the wave folder, I can program a different track, perhaps on the pattern of on the rhythmic pattern of track 2, so I can use CVB of track 2 to program a track that uses 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1 and 2, for instance. Let's try with that. I can use this CV to modulate my source parameter, like this. And perhaps, oh, I was using the wrong track. This. And play with different voltages. Like I can set this and this to add even more animation. I don't like the fact that my CVA is fairly static, so I think I'm gonna drop some notes, which are the second and the third. So I've got this one and this one. Okay, sounds better. Okay, so I think that I can try to blend my Falistri to another channel, perhaps like this one, and use this to add some texture. So I can use some gates of, let's use track 1, program CV gate B, and I can send 2 fairly long gates and use them to trig this envelope here. Add some reverb. I was wondering if I can get a better tuning, because I set a very dramatic transposition for this Falistri here, so I think that I may need to tweak it a little bit. Let's try this one. Oh, much better. And I can then bring some more reverb perhaps. Let's try with the inverted phase. Too much. Okay. I think that this technique lacks some bass, so I was wondering what happens if I bring another track to my mix. Perhaps the pulse wave output of this one here, set this to crossfade mode. Perhaps saturate the channel. I kinda miss this routed to the reverb, so I'm gonna try to patch this one here. So as a result, I may have something sent back into FUMANA, but let's see. So that I can have a dry bass in this channel here. And to spice everything up a little bit, I think I'm going to add some variation to these stages here. For instance, like perhaps with a shorter reverb. Okay, so I think that we can cap it here for today. I hope you had a good time, and if you want to share your approach toward this technique or other Frap ideas suggested by our random techniques on our website, feel free to use the Frap ideas hashtag. And I hope you had fun, and I will see you next time.